4 strands on one side and 5 strands on the left-hand side. So we have a slightly uneven plait, but that makes never mind, it makes no difference. This is the proper way of plaiting a whip and tapering down. The strand that we dropped will become apparent. We dropped into the middle. Will become apparent because it hasn't pulled down as tight as the other strands. Here it is here. And we just keep plaiting. And of course the plait on the right hand side is through the center of the 4 now. And I'm now looking for my shortest strand again, which is this one here. I'm putting a half hitch in it, again, just to identify it, and we continue plaiting. And the dropping sequence from 8 plait down to 6 is easy peasy. Top strand, the one we've marked, number 1, from the left-hand side, instead of bringing it all the way across, just drop it into the belly, bring the next strand underneath it, and plait over it. And we're going to just push this strand up now so we can see it, and it's demarcated as far as the other strands are concerned. Just pull him down a little bit, and we're plaiting straight over the top from the other side. Straight down, pulling it out in a straight line, and providing you plait and pull straight down the line of the keeper or straight down the line of the whip, it'll just automatically come down for you and sit in place. Now, we have an uneven plait again now. We have 3 strands on the right hand side and we have 4 strands on the left hand side, and the uneven plait is through the top 2. The same as we done with the 5 when we went to 5 plait. Remember, we went through the top 2. Well, this one we went through the top 3. This time we're going through the top 2 and splitting those number 1 and number 2 strand with the strand coming across. And we're just going to plait that down for a couple of crossovers or a couple of plaits. Just pulling it down. Just pulling it down, and you can see this strand here is now demarcated. We can see it quite easily. Plaiting down through the top 2, and with the 4 strands on the other side, straight through the middle of them. So there we are there. So we're going to pull this down just to bring it home and get it seated, not all the way, not pull it too tight, just so it seats in there. And we're selecting now the shortest strand on the left to level it up again so that we come to 3 strands either side. Half hitch in it so we know which one it is, and it's in exactly the right position, which is 2nd from the bottom. So we're just folding that into the belly and we're starting to plait again. Straight over the top, just like this. This is the final drop, this is the final sequence, and we're plaiting 6 strands, and as you can see, we're going through the bottom 2. We're splitting the bottom 2 strands just like that. So a 6 plait now, through the top 2, and from the right hand side, through the bottom 2. Tapering down now, heading towards the completion of the whip. Just plaiting down, pulling straight through the line. And this is by far the easiest part of the plait because you've got half the amount of strands in your hand that you started off with, and you've still got a nice wide cut solid strand. So you can quite confidently take this whip out and give it the sort of bashing round that whips enjoy. We're not presenting to you sort of fancy fine whips. We're presenting to you here a whip that you can make, and a whip that you can quite confidently take out to work and put it through a fair whack of of pain and misuse. Just plaiting down now. Okay, I'm wanting to make sure this right-hand strand back here is pulled down nice and tight, which is this strand here. It is. And the one we dropped just back here, which is there. I just want to make sure that that's nice and tight again, which it is. And now we're plaiting down. Plaiting down to the tail of the whip, through the middle two at the top, through the bottom two on the other side, through the top two here for a 6 plait, through the bottom two, easy peasy, nice as rain. And we're just going to continue this on now until we get to the bottom of the whip, we get to its 6 foot length. Okay everybody, so we're down now to 6 strands. We started at 12, we're down to 6, 3 either side. We're at the tail of the whip, a very important part of the whip. We have 2 spare strands coming through for when you damage, or if you damage the whip at any point during its life. It's only a matter of unplaiting it, and there's 2 nice spare strands for you. So this whip, this kangaroo hide whip that you're making now, should be a whip for life. And we're just continuing the plait straight down now. Easy peasy. Through the bottom 2 on the left hand side, through the top 2 on the right hand side. So you've learnt how to do a 12 plait whip. You've come down to a 10 plait whip, then you come down to an 8 plait whip, and now you're down to 6 plait. I told you, anybody can plait, particularly this herringbone 4 plait. And of course, once you get better and better at this, you can put any number of combination of braid into this. We can switch the combination, we can switch how we started at the beginning. You know, you need not necessarily have all the same coloured strands on each side. You can put some really, really marvellous patterns through it. But that's for you to do at a later date once you learn the basis of what's going on here. Now, with just a foot to go. Now, every so often now, because we're getting shorter in the belly, not as much belly left, I just want to pull down and make sure it's all tight, the innards, the belly of this whip. So every sort of half a dozen plaits now, once we get onto the tail, we just want to pull the bellies down and make sure they're tight. They do tend to creep up with this within the last foot or so, and you don't want it to creep up because as you throw that whip out, it wants to expand and it'll just loosen up your plait a little, and we don't want that. Okay everybody, we're now down to our 6 foot mark. So we're needing I simply call it a double pull each strand. So from the top right hand side, pull the strand down tight, next one down from the right hand, next one from the right hand, and then across to the left hand, and just pull each strand down, not breaking it of course, just pulling it down. That's it, that's seated nicely now. These are our belly strands, our remaining strand, and indeed for future reference, these are strands that are in the belly should you take the whip out and use it and cause some damage. So these 2 strands now we want to cut off at about 6 inches. We do this because we want to demarcate these belly strands from these plait strands. We do not want to use these belly strands to put the fall on. So this is the fall. And just to make sure everything's nice and tight and this hasn't bunched up, we'll just give it a bit of a pull and it's fine. We need to use the fall with the inside. You can see there's an outside to the fall and there's an inside. With the inside facing you, just through your pliers like that, open them up and then grip all the strands very simply, just like that, and then work this with your fingers. Just work it so it comes up over the thong of the whip. Okay? As I said previously, we've demarcated these two short strands. They are belly strands and we do not want to use them. And we fix the fall with simple half hitches. So we would open up, just go back a couple of strands to here. And you see how we've got this coming back, so we've got plenty of meat here, or plenty of plait there to fix that too. Half hitch, straight through, just a simple half hitch, and pull that down tight. This is where the pliers come in very, very handy. And just grab it and give it a little squeeze and pull it through tight. The next one is the opposite colour. This is strand from the right hand side. Bring it across, half hitch. Now these are fixed with a half hitch, of course, because the fall is the expendable part of the whip. We will be sending you in the kit a spare fall for some years down the track. When this fall becomes unusable, it's a simple matter of undoing and fitting a new fall that anybody can do in about 5 minutes. Next one, same colour, so we got a two-tone whip, so we're just selecting alternate colours, making absolutely sure we don't select those belly strand. And we go back once we get 3 on and pull the others home a bit tighter, and you'll feel, you probably won't be able to see it, but you will feel that it's just moved that slight bit. Now there's a belly strand, we don't want that. So these strands will simply just present themselves. There we go. And that's the one we need. There. That's the short one. That's the one we need. And we're just bringing them down now in alternate. And we will put 6 on, which is 3 of each colour. 1 of each strand from each side we will put round this fall. Just a matter of holding it, not rushing, there's no need to rush. Just take the time, pull it through, go back and tighten the rest down a bit, and you'll feel that they'll all come. Next colour again, and this strand here is the one we put around first. So that's locking all that fall on now. It's nicely locked on and it's on nice and tight. We're just going to go back and give the others just a little bit of a pull behind. That's it. And here's number 8 that we're putting on now. This is the final strand around it, and this is the locking strand. I'll show you how that works as soon as we get to it. We just pull that down tight. So this is all of your plait now tied off. Each strand of the plait is now tied off. Around the fall, our 2 belly strands, the short strands that we cut off, are here. There they are together. Just give them a little tug, not too tight, just a little tug to pull them down through that. Our lock-in strand is the last strand coming across. Just grab the pliers again and pull that down tight. And that's all nicely becomes part of the whip, locked in tight, until such times as you need to replace the fall. When you need to replace the fall, you simply undo that pin, pull it out, undo the other strands, and use the same method to fit a new fall, and you can fit fall after fall after fall. That's why the whip should last you a lifetime. Okay, so we're just going to trim that so there's no excess. You know, about a 1/4 inch hanging through. This can be a bit dangerous if you're on horseback. You don't want it getting caught under anything. And of course, the strands coming through. And we just trim that off at about 1 inch, 1.25 inches. And that will give you ample length when you need to replace a fall. This length that you're leaving here will allow you to undo and put a new fall and end up with relatively the same length whip. You may lose 1/2 inch, but that's not really a problem. So there's the first whip done. Well, okay everybody, here's our 12 plait, 2-tone, 6-foot stock whip, plaited and As you can see, it's not straight, it's a little uneven, and that's because of the plaiting process. And no matter how good the whip maker is, when you take the whip off the stand, this is exactly what it's going to look like. And I want to show you the magic of an